Welcome to High School Backups Podcast. This is number 11. I remembered it because last week was number 10 and I forgot it. So here we are. We are almost 3 months into this amazing journey, having a good time. Lots of fun stuff to talk about today. One thing we will not talk about is the Red Sox. Speaking of Red Sox, New England news. Red Sox are garbage. Celtics are not garbage. Bruins are also not garbage. And the Patriots are, well, I haven't done anything, but hopefully they can make
They
some
got
moves over the
Tyquan
next couple days.
Thornton.
They did get Tyquan Thornton. We will talk about them a little bit more. We'll kind of talk about that right after this section. Get more, a little more specific, and we're going to talk about each of these a little bit more. Celtics just tied the series last night, 2-2. Robert Williams maybe come back for Game 5. Bruins recently just tied the game 2-2 as well. Charlie McAvoy was not intended to play as of 10 a.m. this morning. Psych. He is playing tonight. He will be playing tonight after passing COVID protocols, even though it's 5 days and it was only 4 days. That's interesting. So here we are, just accepting it at this point. So yeah, moving on from New England news, I did want to talk about the Patriots a little bit off the rip. There is a possibility of them picking up a corner from the Giants, second corner from the Giants, as well as their draft. So who wants to do a little quick? I know we did a little bit of a draft recap already. Any more thoughts from anyone who was not here last week?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think.
mean, I'll make some
Go
I'll
ahead,
make
Steve.
some comments. I briefly did last week. Granted, it's really hard to know with Belichick. I mean, if we know he either is going to draft Hall of Fame players, we got Richard Seymour, we have Gronkowski, Edelman and Brady. Like he's drafted incredible players, but at the same time, and like Shaq Mason, I think it was like in the 5th or 6th round. But then we get to this draft, which it seems like they're all busts. Like I'm not gonna lie, we take a late second, early third round guard with our first round pick, and then we pick up, even though he's the fastest receiver, we picked up a receiver that had the fastest time in the combine. I mean, I've seen some of his film. He is not a 4.21 runner. That's just he just had a really good run of the combine. I'm really underwhelmed by the Patriots draft, but Belichick can either draft busts like N'Keal Harry, or maybe all of our undrafted agents will be the best. Who knows? But I was so underwhelmed. Belichick is disappointed
Uh,
me this offseason even more.
yeah, I will say one. I'm not sure what Cole Strange or who he's gonna be. I just know he impressed a lot of people at the Senior Bowl, so I'm waiting to see what he's gonna be. Tyquan Thornton, I've been saying since the beginning, is I think gonna be a really good receiver in this league. He has to develop his route tree and his route running. It's definitely very underwhelming. But he is not like one of those speed guys that's a track guy that's playing football. He's an actual football player that has speed. So where he's not the best route runner, what he does have is the IQ to play as a receiver. So what I mean by that is the way he comes across the field on a slant route, he doesn't come across with a lot of speed guys. They'll go too fast for their quarterback. He actually knows when to slow it down, when to speed it up, which a lot of fast guys don't have. So I'm excited to see what he can do for us. But he's gonna play a lot with the two tight end sets. He's a good run blocker too. I've heard people saying that a lot about him. So he's gonna play a lot with their tight end packages to open up the top for Johnny and Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry.
Yeah,
Love
no,
that.
I mean, I think I said it last week. I think this year's draft was about adding pieces to what is an almost completed puzzle for the Patriots. We saw last year that they needed receivers and they needed speed. That people were complaining about the Patriots lacking speed. They went out and got speed, and now everyone's complaining about it. Tyquan Thornton and Pierre Strong were the fastest
Typical
players.
Boston fan.
Like the
Typical
fastest
Boston.
players at their respective positions. You wanted a faster running back. Bill Belichick went and got him in James White's replacement in Pierre Strong. You wanted a faster receiver. They go out and get the fastest receiver in the entire draft. I mean, yeah, you can argue that Jamison Williams probably might have run faster, but Jamison Williams wasn't going to be available wherever we picked. I wish he had slid down to 21. There was rumors that he might, but after everybody saw that his rehab was going well, I didn't think he was going to get outside the top 15. And the Cole Strange pick, I mean, again, I think it's the same thing that happened with Logan Mankins in 2005. He was a projected third-round pick by media guys, but NFL guys had him as a high second-round, mid-second-round pick, and the Patriots weren't going to pick again until late in the second, so they picked him up late in the first. And yeah, the draft's a crapshoot, and we really don't know what's going to happen. But when it comes to the draft, for the most part, I err on the side of trusting Belichick. A lot of people think, he hasn't drafted well. But I can name several different players that he's drafted in recent years that have been very good, including last year's draft class, which was absolutely insane.
Oh,
Yep.
hit it last year. Hit it.
It was pretty good, and I think that's it's going to be interesting for the Patriots, and we'll see if they can tie it up. But a few more months to go on that, and we'll see what happens. But
mean,
moving
I
into
will.
kind of nope, Steve, we're moving on. Moving on into more relevant topics to what we're dealing with nowadays. We have playoff madness, both NHL and NBA. Talking a little bit about some idea that was brought up earlier in our chat, some expansion ideas. Also going to talk about Tom Brady's record-setting contract, and oh boy, is it interesting. And lastly, we'll end with podcast polls as per usual. So I did want to start off a little bit of breaking-ish news. I'm about an hour late on this because I didn't see it until just now. John Morant has a bone bruise in his right knee and is doubtful for the remainder of the playoffs. That means that the Grizzlies will see. They already were struggling. So
They had
Did-
the game in hand last
Going
night,
out.
and they just threw it to Golden State. So
Yep.
you're not
But
getting a
didn't
worse
they-
shooting performance.
Didn't they play like really well without him in the regular season too?
20
yes,
So-
very well.
So honestly, I mean, let's not say it's addition by subtraction. John Morant's the best player on that basketball team, but if they tend to play like more cohesively and unpredictably, then it might help them. But the Warriors are already up 3-1. That's the series that I'm least interested in. I thought the Warriors going to win it anyway. So
Yeah,
I'm with you. Yeah, it's 3-1.
I definitely think if it's 2-2 and they can survive another game without him, I think they had a shot maybe. But I mean, literally, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry combined to shoot something like 20% from three. Like that's not happening again. That's how bad it
no.
is. And they lost, and they still managed to win. And going into the fourth quarter, there was something like a 14-point lead or something like that for Memphis. They just let Curry, do Curry stuff, and he got 18 points in that fourth quarter. So and they just couldn't close it. So I will say, if Ja's there, they close that game for sure.
You'd hope.
And I think the thing is that while in the regular season they went 20-5 because they were a good team, when it comes to playoffs, you need that guy. Like that's just how it is. You always need that closer. Steph Curry showed up and was closer. Also on top of that, not only did him and Klay Thompson suck, Jordan Poole also was like a no-show last night overall for how they've been performing this playoff. So when you get all three of those guys and like across the board, Golden State sucked and they just handed them back the game and said, "All right, we don't want this series, so it's over."
Also, given the way this Mavs and Suns series is going, I need an extra apology from y'all.
No, not yet. Not until they win. I said, no. I said Suns at 6, so you got to chill.
Okay.
To be fair,
To be fair.
well,
to be fair,
I already apologized. For
I
this.
apologize
I'm
for the
not
first
doing it a
round. That's
second
it.
time.
Did in 6 as well. Suns.
Yeah, we can go over this pretty relatively quickly. I mean, so the Mavs Suns just kind of talked about that. Luka's really kind of showing out, even though the Suns are full strength. It's kind of on Chris Paul because that man has not come in clutch, other than his perfect game he had in Game 2, I think it was.
Yeah.
He really has not done well otherwise. The Bucks Celtics, we'll save that for last. We just talked a little about the Warriors Grizzlies. Yeah, I think they're kind of screwed. When it's 3-1, it was kind of over anyways, even with Ja. But the fact they don't have him just doesn't help. This is kind of an important one. 76ers and Heat. I know we'll talk about this one a little bit. Yeah, 2-2. All the other series are 2-2. The 76ers and Heat has been interesting because Joel Embiid, has he come back yet or is he about to come back?
He was back.
He
last
played.
week.
Yeah,
So-
he's back.
Well, the issue is that now that he's back, James Harden had a James Harden game, and he seems like he's back in form, dropping 41 points. So if that continues, I don't love the Heat's chances.
Here's what I'll say about the Mavs and the Heat there. Both those series, nobody's won on away court. So until somebody does that, like the old NBA adage is, until somebody wins an away game, the series hasn't started. So or until somebody loses a home game, I think is how they say it. But we're gonna have to see. Heat are back home, and I would pick them to win this one. I think just because they are home, and they play different in Miami. Plus, like a lot of people say in the playoffs, when you're in Miami, there's so many distractions in Miami that we've heard this before and seen it in series where teams go to Miami and they go and party like the night of a game or the night before a game, and end up getting just destroyed the next night. So we'll see what happens. See if they can be disciplined enough. But
And I can imagine it's really different too because of, I mean, granted, COVID cases are kind of on the rise, but a lot of airports and a lot of areas have lifted the mask mandate. It's more of like, maybe it's not so bad if I go out, and then they, go out and end up, possibly partying a little bit too hard and then get distracted for the game. I mean, I've seen that plenty of times. And one Super Bowl where Brady came back and turns out a bunch of defensive players went to the club the night before and it screwed him over. So that could be the case. But if I'm correct, like James Harden, I was watching Skip and Shannon or Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp on Undisputed, and they're kind of talking about the series really all depends on what he wants to, what he wants to be. If he wants to be the James Harden we know, where he just kills it, puts up 30, 40 points, and and then the rest of 76ers can follow suit and just dominate the game, or is he just not going to have a good night, just be distracted by something? So this may not be a good night for him, because if they're going to Miami and he gets distracted there, a distracted James Harden is why 76ers will lose in the series.
And
but
he loves to party.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
he does. Yeah, he does. Interesting. So, Steve, when you're talking about distractions, the only thing I can think of is the Giants boat picture from 5 years ago, 2016 or whatever.
They've not been over 500 since that picture.
But also, interesting note about the Sun series: Chris Paul has blown 6 2-0 leads in his career and lost all of those series.
I believe
Heard
it.
that,
Dude.
heard that today. So
For a legend, he's a choke artist.
But
To be
at the
fair,
same
he
time,
also had Doc Rivers as coach for a while, so.
well, here's the thing.
Doc Rivers is a championship-winning coach.
Oh my god, I don't want
No,
to hear it.
He was the big three and only took him to one.
No, here's one thing I will say though.
To be
It
fair,
was-
To be fair.
To be fair.
they lost to Kobe once, and then they got injured.
Yeah,
Okay,
true, but still.
So here's one thing with if you've had other 2-0 leads blown and you lose at the same time, what was it, the 76ers coach? He blew, I think it was a 3-1 lead in the playoffs before, and that's what happened against the Raptors, where you thought, oh, the Raptors are gonna come back and win the series, and then he goes against his history in response with 132 to 86 blowout.
Doc
So I
Rivers
mean,
has won 3-1s, I think.
Something like that.
yeah. So it's insane. So he has a history, but he eventually bounced back from it. So
One of those was as an 8 seed, though. One of those was as an 8 seed.
Fair.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
But it didn't
Clarify, I
win
am watching the Bruins game, so if I do seem a little distracted, it's currently 0-0, 5 minutes
Let
in.
us know
So.
of any updates.
Speaking of that, the Rangers stink, and we'll talk about that. So the last series we haven't talked about, because this is the closest to us, is the Celtics and the Bucks. It's been a very interesting series. It's been a huge battle back. The Celtics have had everyone but Jason Tatum win them a game so far. So we could really use him to really have like a nice 40-point night pretty soon.
Whoa.
Whoa.
No.
Whoa.
I was listening to
Tatum-
W on the way home, and I completely agree with them. Tatum hasn't had a V game yet.
False. Tatum put
Okay.
up like 16 in the fourth quarter last night.
Yeah,
I
but Al Horford won the second.
Al
Yeah,
Horford
but
That
was
was
a god
after,
last
that was
night.
after
But hold on a
Giannis
minute.
dunked on him. And
Al
then he returned
Horford,
the favor.
Al Horford started the comeback. JT finished it, but I don't think he was the reason they won that game. I think it was Al Horford.
Well, I'm saying like Horford's it's because of him that we win the game for sure. But if Jason doesn't do what he does in the fourth, we don't win that anyway. So
Yeah,
I'm
because
not saying
unfortunately,
the game
I just don't think it was
isn't-
JT's game. It was Al's game.
It wasn't his game, but he definitely is coming up clutch each game. Other than the game.
I want a
Game
JT
three,
game.
he
I
was
want
very-
42 points, 10 a quarter. Like that's what I want. Like I want him to have the game he was having to end the season. Like he had
But-
like 30, 40 games.
No,
He's
I
averaging
want
35 points. Like that's what I want.
I want the 40-point game he had against Brooklyn. Like,
Yeah,
what I
that's fine. If he does that, I have no complaints. He's done
But
everything. Even if we lose the series, like he's done everything good.
but this is like the story
Season
with the
6.
Celtics. You have to remember the Celtics are like what I can picture is like the most complete team in the NBA, because it's every other week, whether it be I mean, during Brooklyn, I mean, JT was awesome, but at the same time, it's Brown had a couple of insane games. So I think it's the balance that we have is what's helping us out. And I mean, we're just struggling with Giannis because I mean, one, he's very physical, I get it, and two, I mean, I hate to be this kind of guy, but there's a lot of there's a lot of some reffing. Not gonna lie, I saw Game 3. I saw the end of the game. It was a shot penalty. I was really pissed. My girlfriend said I was really pissed. It made no sense. So I hate. I mean, granted, this is an idea that I hate in general. That in the NBA, I feel like during the playoffs, stars get way more leeway, even compared to other sports like with football. But
If you think that's true, you should watch hockey games because the Stars don't get called for.
Kyle's
anything.
just complaining because he's against the Penguins, and they literally are thrashing the Rangers. is
We'll get to that in
complete.
a second. We
So-
will get to
Okay.
that in a second.
Yeah,
To be
we will.
fair-
Yeah.
To be fair,
To be fair.
everybody struggles with Giannis. 2, Al Horford has never had a game like that in his life.
That's
Which
good.
is
not,
fine.
It's not even turning back the clock 10 years. Al Horford has never once been a dude who scores like that. So watching that last night was absolutely wonderful.
His highest was like 24 in the postseason, so he had
can we
30.
agree
So
that-
yeah,
I'm angry because Carolina just scored. So,
dude, you
what-
ruined it. I'm behind.
Wasn't the
Here's what I'll
he
say
was-
about the Celtics series. They should have won Game 3, and you
Nice.
can't. They choked in the last like leading up to that final foul. That should have been a shooting foul, but it wasn't. But as like all of my coaches ever told me, don't allow the refs to impact the game like that.
yes.
And unfortunately, they choked it at the end when they had the lead, and they could have taken that separation they needed to weather something like that. Unfortunately, they didn't. And then, of course, they could have hit the last, they had 3 tip-ins before Al Horford actually got it in after the buzzer. So, but that's neither here nor there. Now, going forward, especially if we get Robert Williams back for Game 5, 6, or 7, I think it'll go 7. I think the Bucks will win on their home court, but I think now that we're going back to home court advantage, it's going to be our series to lose. I think we win Game 5, go to Milwaukee with a chance to seal it. I think they end up pulling it out because it's home, and then we take it back to the Garden and win there. But I don't think we're losing the series unless they get Chris Middleton back. But I think he's ruled out for the whole series, right?
no, he's done.
Yeah. So they're not winning it because I think it was JJ Redick was talking about it, but they need him at the end to close with Giannis because they don't have the pick and roll they need to get Giannis going downhill. So
I also feel like going back to Milwaukee, I mean, they're the defending champs. And when you go to the stadium of defending champs, it's definitely a much more hostile environment than I want to say with Brooklyn, because I have a feeling over time, I mean, Brooklyn just gave up. So the home games were much more manageable because the fans and the players gave up at one point. With playing in Milwaukee, you have a very passionate and very cocky fan base that just came off of a championship. They have the most physically dominating player in the NBA. So I'm not surprised that we may have the yips, especially like Game 3. Definitely, I mean, what was it? Brown couldn't hit a 3-pointer to save his life. And I'm not surprised that there's a little bit of nervousness and a little bit of pressure. But going back to Milwaukee, especially with the W, the Celtics with a lot of confidence is a really dangerous team that we could potentially win it in Game 6.
Last thing I'll say is that we have Giannis, who shot 57% all postseason last year. Like the entire postseason, he shot 57%, which is just insane. The Celtics are the only team that can keep him down. He's still going to get points. Like last
He's
night,
going to get 35, but
Yeah.
he had,
You just have to keep everyone else down.
What he ended up getting though and what everybody's been saying, like Durant can go get you 40, but if he's shooting inefficient, that's the problem.
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Giannis is doing that right now. He's shooting 43%, which isn't terrible when you think about like the whole league, but for him it's bad. And because of that, he is getting dumb fouls like charges Marcus Smart is taking from him. He's missing shots he doesn't usually shoot because they're just tiring him out. And we saw it at the end of the game last night. He couldn't hit anything. He scored 6 points. Al Horford scored 16. So in that fourth quarter, I think we're winning this. I truly believe we're going to win this in 7.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the idea of forcing Giannis to really go for the basket and try to like dunk as much as he can. Because that tires him out. That's kind of why it would help. And I mean, our team is capable of putting almost 50 points in a single quarter. And if we have a tired out Giannis, especially in the fourth quarter, I'm not surprised. I mean, also bump around a little bit, get him all worked up, and just get him flustered, especially back in Boston. I mean, Boston fans can definitely get into his head if we wanted to. So
But he just set a new fire underneath all those Celtics. Did you see Brown? Like Brown wasn't having anything of him
who did Giannis stare down? Who did he stare down?
Horford.
Horford and Al
Horford.
scored 30.
That was after
then-
that dunk on him.
Yeah,
After he
So
got
Horford,
he put Jaylen Brown came up to him like when he was going for a dunk. Jaylen did in the third quarter, and he comes up and he points at Giannis, and he was like, I don't know what he said, like don't do that or something. And Giannis came up, put his hand on his back of his neck like that, and was trying to like.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I thought it was being nice at first, and then it just looked a little bit
I think it was a
funky.
little bit of both. I think he started out that way, and then he was trying to like assert dominance on him, and then he was like, and Jaylen just smacked it off his back and was like, "Dude, what are you doing? You don't touch me." So
could we agree that Giannis that stare down and then grab him behind the neck? I feel like we could put that in a similar, planting the gravestone, like when Kyrie flipped off all of Boston like game
Yep.
1.
What we
So-
can do is that we can start talking about the NHL. So,
Hockey. Yeah, let's move on to
the
Kyle. Kyle,
Celtics
you're up.
are, the
Great
Celtics are doing a good
transition,
job,
Nick.
honestly.
Great
So,
transition.
yeah,
I
they're doing
was
great,
pretty
and honestly, they have a really good chance of winning this series when they didn't look like that after game 1. So, moving on to hockey, we're gonna keep that pretty straightforward here. I'm actually pulling it up. I don't know.
What do you mean straightforward? There's a lot.
Well,
to
we're
go
gonna
over.
skip over the
That's
worst
what
series,
we're
which is the
talking about.
Rangers
Come on,
here.
Kyle.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we're
We're
gonna
actually gonna
skip straight
start.
over the Rangers.
We're gonna
series.
start with the Bruins just because it is on now. It's 2-2 currently. It's every home team has won so
The
far.
series,
Kind of
not the
unfortunate.
score. The series.
The
is
no, yeah. The score is 1-0. I haven't seen a score yet. I don't know if the Bruins score here, but it's 1-0 currently.
haven't.
Series tied 2-2. Truthfully speaking, the Bruins have looked good at home, awful away, and that's really all there is to that series. It's very, very physical, that's for sure. It's really it's fun to watch, but man, it's going to be really hard to beat them once at
You
home.
know
And
what
they'll have to
series
do
was
it.
the worst one so far? The one that
Rangers?
ended yesterday. The Avalanche completely swept Nashville.
Yeah, Kyle's prediction was awful,
Yeah.
which is saying that the Avalanche were overrated. So
They will. The
Didn't
Avalanche
I
are
do-
losing next round, so it's fine.
Don't think so.
Kyle, if I end up with a more accurate bracket than you in the NHL, we're gonna have a talk, buddy.
We'll see. We'll see.
You gotta stop
you
being
guys
a
know a
Rangers
lot.
fan.
Just because you're very familiar with a certain sport doesn't mean you know anything. Look at Rob Parker. He's very good
Yeah.
with football, but he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
He's
Or
so
Skip
waiting for Tom
Bayless
Brady to
with,
fall off the
or
cliff.
Skip Bayless.
The first round is
Baker
not
Mayfield.
over, by the way. I so far have one series right. I did say the Avalanche would win one round, so to be fair,
To be fair.
Well, to be fair.
I'm not wrong yet.
Mhm.
So here we are.
But-
So let's go through these. We can go through most of them real quick. We'll let Kyle talk about the one he wants to talk about. The Bruins are looking okay. The only issue is they do have to win a game at home or away,
You mean
rather.
on the road,
And
right.
I don't know if they're gonna be able to do that tonight. Would I think be their best chance, truthfully. So, anyways, to get into it, the next one I'm just gonna go through the list I have in front of me. Lightning, Maple Leafs. I'm surprised the Maple Leafs have fought back as quickly as they did because I thought the Lightning were just going to win 4-1 as soon as they won Game 2. Lightning have looked good. Maple Leafs have looked good in the wins. So I don't know. Any thoughts on that, Kyle? Specifically?
Yeah, Toronto is lucky they haven't been swept, honestly.
Yes.
Toronto looks pretty bad. That's really all there is to it. It's just Toronto being Toronto. I don't know what it is about that team. They have all the right pieces. It's just they can't win past the first round, and it's really not looking good. I'm pretty sure it's 2-2 in the series
It is,
right now,
it
but they
is.
play game 5. Play game 5 tonight.
Pretty much all the
which
series
I
left are
believe is
2-2 except for one, and I think you know which one that is. So.
Now you're just rubbing salt in the wound.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. The next one's the Blues and the Wild, which honestly I thought the Wild were just going to win that series until Game 4, and the Blues looked pretty good.
I did predict the Blues would win that series. I also predicted they would beat the Avalanche in the next round, so I'm not surprised one bit right now. The
fair.
Blues are really good. They really have a great goalie, and the goalie who led them past the Bruins a couple years ago is their backup. That's how good their goalie tandem is right now. So I'm not surprised at the Blues at all. They pretty much still have the same team they did a few years ago when they won the Stanley Cup. So they haven't needed to change much. They're going up against a young Wild team, and that's the problem. Going up against a young team when you go to the playoffs is what does you win, and that's pretty much what is doing the Rangers in, which we'll get to when we get to that series. But the reason I really genuinely think the younger you are and the less experience you have in the playoffs, the worse you do. And that's really how it's coming down to in the Wild Blues series right now. Blues have experience, Wild don't.
Yeah, and what I think is the biggest surprise of the playoffs so far is the Kings and Oilers being tied at 2-2. I definitely thought the Oilers were going to win this a little more handily, but it is the Oilers, and they can't seem to win anything in the playoffs, so I shouldn't be that surprised.
I'm not super surprised that the Kings are doing good. I am surprised that they have it tied, though. I did think the Oilers would have a little bit easier run with it than they have had.
But they have
that's the
not.
one series I have not followed. I have not followed the Kings Oilers series at all.
I haven't either, and we'll skip past yours. We'll do that last just because I know you're going to talk about the most. Capitals, Panthers, that series has been extremely back and forth. To be honest, I think it's very even.
So much fun.
It's been really fun to watch. The highlights of
I really thought the Panthers would kind of cruise a little bit more past them.
But then that veteran power,
but
man.
they're not. They are
Yeah.
looking. It's such a fun series. I really want the Panthers to win just because they won the President's Trophy, and man, South Florida needs some things to cheer for because Miami's not winning this round. So Panthers need some help here. Give those fans something good for.
Something, hopefully. And Stars Flames, I have nothing on this series, Cal, so that's up to you.
I also don't really have much in this series. I am surprised the Flames are struggling. No, the Flames have not looked good at all.
Well, that's
That's really
unfortunate because they were supposed to win
it
that
is.
series pretty well. And then we'll talk
I
about the
also
worst
have them
series.
going to the Stanley Cup. Okay.
Oh,
Calling
well,
it
now
the
you know.
worst series.
So, yeah, we'll talk about it. The worst
bullshit.
series for the worst team in the playoffs, besides the Predators, of course. Got to be a little nice.
You are so ridiculous.
So the Rangers have done a really good job of throwing away games and are losing by Sidney Crosby, the best player to ever touch the puck.
Stop
And
it.
he is absolutely running the Rangers shit right now, and
Okay.
it is my favorite part. So go ahead, continue to lose to Evgeny and Sidney.
What is it? Back-to-back games with the Penguins throwing up 7 points against them. Yeah, that's
yeah. I don't even know where to begin with this team. Like I am so pissed
it's
off.
really easy.
It's
It's really easy to start. It's an easy place to start. They suck. All right, go from there.
They're
too young for their own good.
You're not even wrong. Like they have sucked. Like that's not even that's not even like a wrong thing to say. They've given up 14 goals in 2 games. That's terrible. That's like on.
Are they a
that's
really young
awful.
team?
Yes,
They are. That's the problem. They are extremely young.
and they're going against
experience.
Cup winners.
Yeah, the only experience this team has was when they went to the Stanley Cup. Was when 2 players on the current team went to the Stanley Cup final in 2014. The team has no experience. That's the problem. They have a lot of chemistry. They're just going up against players who have done this lots of times. Like the Penguins' core hasn't really changed much. They still have Sidney Crosby. They still have Evgeny Mountain. They still have Chris Letang. And those 3 have won
Jari,
3
if you
cups
will.
together.
I mean,
Jari's been hurt. You know what's really frustrating about this series? The Rangers are going up against the 3rd string goalie, and that hasn't mattered. They're going up against the goalie who's the starter in their minor league team. Like that's and they can't score on him. The defense for the Penguins has been phenomenal this series. The Rangers I've gone 1 for 7 on the power play in the past 2 games. They had the 3rd best power play percentage in the regular season. They have the worst power play percentage in the playoffs this year. Worse than the Predators, who just got swept. Like this team has not looked the same at all. And from watching the games, the only thing that really looks like it is experience. That's really the one thing that it's come down to is they have 3 cup winners versus no cup winners.
Important to note, the Hurricanes have the 2nd worst playoff power play percentage against the Bruins, and they were like 10 during the season. So just point that out. 2 for 23.
I mean, even if you're a really young team, you're extremely talented, have an incredible regular season. But when you get into the playoffs, that's where experience is going to pay off key. But I also think, let's say, pigs start to fly and Rangers win this series. But when you finish off a 7-game series getting thrown around for most of it, I mean, I severely doubt they'll make it even further. So
Welcome to the Hurricanes.
They should
welcome
throw in
to
the towel.
The playoffs. I'd rather them try and maybe because in the Stanley Cup playoffs anything can happen. We've seen teams barely make the playoffs and end up winning the Stanley Cup a couple years. Like it's happened. Anything
Blues
can happen.
from 2018.
Exactly. The Blues in 2019 had the worst regular season record at the trade deadline, which is not the trade deadline, at the All-Star break that year, and ended up winning the Stanley Cup. Like.
Yeah, halfway through the year, they literally had the worst record in the NHL,
and then won the Stanley Cup. Like anything can happen, as like it's possible. Like when you're looking at it, like statistically, really, the Rangers only need to win 3 in a row, which they've done 11 times this season. They've won at least 11 or more in a row. Looking at it just by that standpoint, it's possible. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm hoping they can at least win tomorrow night. and not lose on home ice. At this
Well,
point.
moving on from that sadness, as the Bruins look like they're about to get scored on again, another power play. We're gonna go ahead and do the Wordle for today.
They do. Nice. Good
Let's go.
goal. Good goal.
The Bruins just got scored on
Alright.
again. Love
Yeah,
that.
Yes,
power
they did.
play.
I love that. That's all
It
that
was a
counts.
nice
I did
shot,
just
though.
talk crap. So, okay. Who wants to start today?
So we just guess a player. And that
Yeah.
Just guess. Just somebody throw out a random name.
Tom Brady. We
That's
have
who I
to.
usually
We're talking
start with.
about him
That's
more than
fair.
that
That's
might be
fair
today.
Okay. Well,
Fuck.
Kyle, about as good as your team in the playoffs so far. So,
Gives us nothing, Kyle. Thank you.
All right,
I
let's go
told
with
him-
us the
I told him
conference.
he's not in the NFC.
It tells us that he's in the AFC, under 6'4", not age 44,
Not a
wonderful,
quarterback.
above the number 12.
it's like a running back or a wide receiver.
J.C. Jackson.
No,
It's
it's
not
not
a
a
corner.
defensive player.
Throw out Jacoby Myers. Just throw the name out. Let's see what we got here. He's 6 feet tall.
Yeah, he's over.
Hey.
All right, so it's a running back who's like 27 or 26.
Okay, wait. So
Uh,
wait. So AFC.
Kareem Hunt. That's a good
Yeah,
guess.
let's go, baby. 3.
All right. Well,
Way to go.
It could have been. I was just going through the divisions in my head. I was like kind of older. Most of them are younger. I was like, it's not Nick Chubb. Might as well go with Kareem Hunt.
That's actually amazing.
Wow.
I was thinking Melvin Gordon at the time. I was like,
I was
running
going to start
back,
with Damian
over.
Harris.
Melvin Gordon would have fit all of the parameters.
Well, that was easy.
That's
Okay,
fun.
boys.
Yeah.
Well, that was that for today. Moving on
What?
to
No hard mode?
One more. Let's do a hard
yeah, do
mode.
hard
night.
mode.
dude.
Hard mode includes defensive for Austin and Andrew.
We
you
can
might
guess
not know.
J.C. Jackson immediately. It'll be wonderful.
All right, J.C. Jackson. All
Corner.
right,
He is a
corner.
DB,
Okay.
under 6'1", under
In the
not
NFC.
in the AFC and the NFC. Go Jalen Ramsey.
He's not under. Is he that short?
No, I think he's 6'2".
Yeah, I was gonna say
But-
he's not short enough.
Oh,
Yo,
NFC West.
Asante Samuel Jr.
Yeah.
No,
wait,
it's
No,
not-
he's
he's
Or,
AFC West.
Ward. Ward. They just
Oh,
picked
Jimmy
it was,
Ward. Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward.
You mean more to safety? No, he's
Oh, he's a little.
so he's 6 feet exactly, and
Wow.
he's 25. He's a young corner in the NFC West.
Do we want to try and narrow down a team?
Yeah.
How old is
probably.
Trayvon Diggs?
So
Byron
it's-
Murphy.
Not
Byron
Trayvon
Murphy.
Diggs.
No.
Byron
Yeah,
Murphy.
Yeah. Not just not Trayvon because he's not in the NFL.
There's another Diggs. He's a
Byron Murphy.
There's
Yeah.
Quayandre.
Okay, so it's
Oh,
Seattle.
it's Seattle.
Seattle.
Diggs.
It's
Try
Diggs.
Quayandre Diggs.
Oh,
No.
Oh,
He's a safety because.
Sidney
Who's
Jones.
Okay,
Yeah.
good look. I don't know who the fuck that is, but good look.
Yeah.
There we
Wow.
go, Andrew.
Okay, moving back to our topics for today. Expansion question mark? As these totally original pictures that Kyle made, as you can see, he totally didn't text me. I made us these for the podcast tonight, and then Jake proceeds to say, by the way, didn't make those himself. I've been looking at them for 8 hours. Okay.
And I have
So-
to click to prove it.
Titty.
No. Okay, I'm gonna quickly explain this. So there's some maps that supposedly Kyle made. He told me he made of all the teams, and so we could see where we'd want to put expansion teams. But Jake literally found the exact same maps within 5 seconds, and Kyle literally told me in text message, and I quote, "I made these for the podcast." So
No.
I
didn't find them in 5 seconds. I've been looking at them since noon to figure out where expansion teams could go. Like
So
I've
I
had
already-
them pulled up forever.
I made these graphics for us to use tonight. Bored, huh? Oh, it's a slow day. So he said, so I'm going to ask him, Kyle, you made those, right? And if he says yes, we're f***ing roasting you. So,
Wait, but Jake, did you actually find them? On
Yes.
Kyle, is
Yes,
your
I
camera
found
still
them.
working? Or
Literally,
is it only
when it came to the
is your
idea, I looked them up
voice
online.
still working on
They're
there, or is
Google
it,
Maps
both not?
things. Like they're Google Maps.
I don't know. Did you guys hear
There's
me
a
when I
Google
was-
Maps watermark
Oh,
on
no.
on.
hey, yeah.
Well, you are
Kyle,
muted
just
as
yet?
well.
You're muted right now as well, so you can't talk to me if you want to.
No.
Okay, bye. So there's a Google Maps watermarks on there, but even more unfortunate. Yo, the green's kind of coming out of my eyes because I'm sure you guys see that shit.
No, I don't know.
There it is.
Nice.
How those maps?
hey, alright.
So, hey, Kyle, so those maps, you made those, right?
Yes.
Kyle!
You
Are you lying right now? You're lying to all.
Yes, I am. I am lying.
Oh my god, I can't believe you're. I believed you. I was like, wow, he put in all this effort. And Jake's like, no, I've literally been staring at 12. They're right here.
Oh my god, guys, have you seen my painting of Mona Lisa?
The only thing I did was put our logo in it because there was no logo on the other one.
Oh, so that's
why I claimed him.
Oh my god.
Bro, that's not okay.
That's These 4 maps are of each of the 4 major sports and where each of the teams lie, just like Kyle lied about making any of these. So, our goal is to find 1 or 2 locations we could imagine some sports, some teams expanding to. So, that is going to be our goal today.
Mind if I start?
We start.
We're not taking too much time on this. We're just going to go through each person, start in alphabetical order. So Andrew's going to start. Sorry, Steve. And then we're just going to do, what do you think? 2 for each. What do you think would be fun? Anything. Doesn't have to be anything specific.
All right. So
hey, Nick, by the way, you also have the hockey one twice, by the way. Sorry.
Wait, what?
Just looking at you don't have the
wait, I choked. Oh no.
All right, fix it. Podcast. Let's do this.
Scuffed podcast. Which one was I missing? The MLB? I thought
It's okay. No one really cares about baseball.
Yeah, true. Honestly.
I mean, I'm going to Red Sox.
You're just saying that because the Red Sox are losing.
No, I just prefer
because
football
the Red
much
Sox
over
are
baseball.
Well, also, like, baseball's only fun when you're there. Like, I mean, I will say,
baseball.
Hey, we're back to it. Yep, I will say we're gonna keep moving on. So, let's go.
So, I think for all 4 leagues, I do think that they need to have a team in Hawaii.
Like it,
That would be a great way to go out there. You know, just enjoy some time out there. I mean, they've had the Pro Bowl out there, so I mean, why not?
Also,
the NFL,
fun fact: you can't copy any city or place that anyone else chooses. So Hawaii's off the board. Let's go. Keep going.
No.
So for the NFL, I think they need to add a team in Oklahoma. I think a Red River Showdown, like they have in college, in the NFL would be a fun way to watch on the pro level. The NBA, my other team that I would choose is probably a team in New Mexico. A team in there would kind of open it up more. MLB, watch baseball that much because not really a big baseball guy. I'm sorry, Kyle.
That's okay. Choose some more fun then.
I'd say Las Vegas. You know,
I like it.
Place. Let's see. NHL. Let's go with Iowa. For the heck of it, why not? For the heck of it.
I like it. I think Austin would be next because I'm not looking on it.
Let's see. NBA. I think you need Seattle and Kansas City.
Austin, I hate you for that Seattle comment.
You're welcome. I knew I had to say it. Let's see. MLB. I like the idea of putting in a Portland, and then it's kind of hard to pick something there. Maybe you could go for Montreal again. You know, try to run that back.
Ooh, W. Like it.
Let's see. Football. I can't do Oklahoma. I like that pick though. Might as well just go Portland again, right?
Yeah, keep taking the Portlands. Like it.
There's nothing there. Honestly, maybe you do go with the Mexico City.
No!
I hate you. I absolutely hate you.
Let's keep going. This is going to get more entertaining. Let's go.
Are you kidding me?
So for NHL, sorry, Kyle.
The Whalers back.
Yes, I like that idea. Bring the Whalers back. London.
Oh my god.
So yeah, literally. And then let's put one in Montana. You know, why not? They're
no.
Okay, I like it, Austin. I'm making the executive decision as the host, and I'm going to do mine next. So,
Piss off.
You're going to be here with me.
Oh, no. Okay, Jake. If you take mine, I'm pissed.
All right, I'm going to start with the MLB. I'm noticing a glaring hole in the city of New Orleans. So the Major League Baseball needs to get to New Orleans.
They call that Katrina.
And instead of Ottawa, let's go with a team in North Dakota. You know what? They need something real good up there. Let's give them an MLB team. The NBA. You know what? Virginia Beach could use a team. Virginia could really use a team. I don't think Virginia has a team in any of the 4 major sports, actually. Just looking at this, I don't.
Well, I guess
no, because DC's not technically
their own. they're in like
And
their
plus-
own little city, so it's like
And plus,
not
Washington plays in Maryland.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So for Major League Baseball, we're gonna go with the MLB. They have the Norfolk Tides down here, but let's give them an MLB team. Or was that I said that for the NBA? My bad.
Yes.
Let's see here. The second team for the NBA. Has anybody said Kansas City yet?
I'm
No.
pretty sure
So
Austin did.
For what? For MLB?
NBA.
NBA. I'm pretty sure Austin did.
I think I did. Yeah, Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay then.
South Dakota.
Nah. Let's get a Nebraska team going.
Oh, dude.
This team's
Dude,
dope.
I wasn't even thinking of it. Kentucky. Somebody's got to say Kentucky.
Okay, who's
Fair.
next? Who's next on the?
Fair.
Oh, wait,
I'm
is that
not
it?
done, bro.
Sorry,
I'm
my
not
bad.
done, bro.
This guy is
Tennessee.
NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the NFL's got nothing left. Let me pull it up. on
Merge
my
with the CFL.
computer.
Take over the CFL.
No, absolutely. You should get a team in Toronto for the NFL. That was one of the things I was gonna say anyway.
Astronauts.
But also this Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama gap here. I don't understand how that is because of the fact that they're such big college football places. So put a team in Mobile, Alabama, please. I think that would be so dope. That would be hype.
Dude,
Thai
Tuscaloosa.
players going to
I think I missed the
Alabama team.
I think I missed the NHL, but I think the NHL already has enough teams, so I'm fine with
What?
that one. On to the next.
What?
Yes,
Alright,
you.
Yeah,
just-
you
Yeah.
just
You're up, Justin.
Alrighty. So, first one in the corner is basketball. Jake already stole 8 Dakota, so I'm gonna go South Dakota because I like the idea of Dakota Daredevils.
Oh, I like
He's got
Nice.
names. boy.
He's naming teams.
I originally thought that's
alright.
what we needed, but thankfully not because I could not come up with one for every state. And Steve, you can use some of the ones I choose as well because you are gonna run out of ideas.
Justin's making his case for being an owner over there.
I can only think of one for basketball. Hockey was the easiest one for me to think about because Saskatchewan looks empty. So
Nice.
it could go definitely put some more Canadian ones up there. If we talk about... Oh, and hockey could also use in Alaska because Andrew's idea of Hawaii. When it goes to baseball, we could probably include another country like Mexico for Mexico City, since we already can get Canada for other sports. And I don't know if Canada has any baseball teams, but maybe put Montreal in there.
Damn it.
That was Toronto.
Took
Blue
mine,
Jays.
Justin.
Oh, Toronto Blue Jays, yeah.
So I'm surprised. I could be wrong, but I don't think anyone picked this for 3 out of the 4 sports. I don't think anyone picked Portland.
I did.
Oregon.
Yeah, Austin
Oregon?
took Portland for
Uh,
all of them.
Austin did.
Austin did.
Austin took
Wow, I
Portland for
totally
all
missed
of
that.
them.
But anyway, that's fine. So
And that's why I said people could
Justin-
reuse some of mine because of how many
Yeah.
towns are running out of.
Justin said Montreal for some sports.
He said
I'm
it for
going with
baseball.
Quebec. I'm going to say Quebec. I
Oh.
think Quebec City should have one for all the sports. I think especially hockey. I think that would be good, but I think it would also work in baseball.
What-
Quebec
Are you doing
and
baseball?
Toronto. I was just doing one across the board for now, and then just like
Oh,
one
okay.
team. So Quebec is covering all of them. I'm not sure if someone said this for basketball. I don't think, but I was gonna go with Pittsburgh for basketball.
Nobody said it.
Yeah, I think between Philly and Pittsburgh, that'd be nice. You got to have the in-state rivalry. It's there in every other sport, so having it in basketball would be a nice one. For baseball, I don't know. Again, I'm not sure if anyone said it, but Charlotte. I think Charlotte, North Carolina, would be a good one for baseball. Everyone took all of my locations for football, so
Kyle, why is a great
I'm
place?
going.
This time of
I'm
year.
gonna pick one randomly, and I'm gonna say El Paso deserves a football team.
Not San Antonio.
No, El Paso, because why not?
Why add another Texas football team?
Why not, Andrew? Why not?
Mayor
I
of
know.
Dallas said he wanted a second team in Dallas. So, hey.
Exactly.
I said no, San Antonio.
That is
Exactly.
absurd. Absurd talk
I
right
mean,
there.
And
I'm
for
sure Texas could
hockey,
use a better football
the
team.
other
so.
one I'm gonna go with for hockey is Omaha, Nebraska.
I mean,
I like it.
We almost
Omaha.
had football teams in California for a little while, so
That's true.
Yeah. So my idea, honestly, I was just gonna choose North and South Dakota for every sport because I thought it'd be hilarious to have a Dakota Dash every year, or a Dakota Dunce, if you will, where everyone just Dakotas just go after it. Dakota versus Dakota. However, some of those are taken. So my other idea is Kansas versus Arkansas. So I'm gonna go. So those are my two rivalries. So just to make that more specific, for basketball, we're gonna do the old North Dakota versus South Dakota, and we're gonna go the North Dakota Dunces and the South Dakota Deuces. They're both spelled the same way, of course. And then for baseball, we're gonna go because it's Southern sport. Arkansas versus Kansas. It's gonna be the Kansas Cockatoonies and the Arkansas Arkansas. And then for football, again,
What is
going back
happening?
to North Dakota, South Dakota. We're
What
gonna go
is
with
going on?
North Dakota Dakota Bears, and we're gonna go with the South Dakota Bear Dakotas. So we're gonna go with that there, and then for hockey, because it's a cold sport, it obviously belongs in Kansas and Arkansas. So we're gonna go with the Kansas Cox, spelled KAWKS, and then the Arkansas Cox. So that's mine. Let's go.
that is a merchandise mess.
Wow. I will just say, if there's ever a Dakota team, like a South Dakota, it should be the president. Because they have the.
Okay, go ahead, Steve.
Mount Rushmore.
Well, I'm gonna throw some more fun at you. So I'm gonna go with Montana for a lot of my stuff. So I'm gonna start with basketball. I love the Raptors name. The name Raptors sounds really cool. You know what else is in Montana? Ton of fossil dig sites. You know what? We're gonna have the Montana Tyrants. Yeah, it's gonna be T-Rexes up there killing everybody in the NBA. And then you know what? Because I like the idea of Mexico, I'm gonna go with Mexico City for basketball. Is a lot of basketball played in Mexico? Not really. I feel like it'd be better for football, but Austin had to be a dick waffle and take it. So I'm gonna have to go with Mexico City for basketball. All right, we're gonna head over
Are they
to
Longwood?
baseball. Let's go with baseball. I'm gonna go with I fell asleep like every baseball game. All right, so we're gonna move on to hockey. That's funny because I'm going to another game.
Louisiana Longwoods, thoughts?
Yeah.
Longwoods.
I was
like
waiting
it.
for him to
All right.
bring up a Longwood thing.
So we're going to hockey, and as it turns out, Montana is going to have a blow up in sports. So they're also going to have another team. And let's go with what other animals have they discovered? Let's go with the Montana Allosaurus. Yeah, because Allosaurus has been found in Montana. That's pretty cool. So they're going to have an Allosaurus for hockey. And then for another hockey team, let's go with Manchester. That's right, the Manchester Monarchs. I think they're going to bump up and become a...
They don't exist anymore, Steve.
They don't exist anymore.
They
Kyle,
do now,
so
Kyle.
They do now. Coming back. Wait, the map. I can't. I need to see.
No,
the map.
it's gone, Steve. You chose your two teams.
I was about to say, why did it disappear?
So finally, I'm gonna go to the NFL. I wanted Mexico City, so you know what? I'm gonna go to a place even better.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
So it's gonna be. I don't even know what's really significant for an mascot in Guadalajara, but the Guadalajara tequila bottle.
Gorillas.
Right, go for it.
Guadalajara Gorillas.
Gorillas of Africa, silly.
No, like guerrilla warfare,
Carrillas.
silly.
Carrillas.
Yeah. Or what is it? The tequila plant, because actually there's a lot of that outside of Guadalajara. Anyways, and then finally we're gonna go back up to Montana for the NFL, and we're gonna have the Montana Raptors, and that's gonna complete my teams.
I like it.
Same logo as Toronto, and it's gonna rip them off, but be better.
And we just created 34 teams in 2 leagues and 32 teams in another 2. Let's go.
I just want to say that we started here, like with yeah, we're gonna go like here because this makes sense to just like.
Well, that's what happens when you
Let's
can't
get 'em.
copy, and that's why I thought it'd be funny. So
Montana has dinosaurs, so they should have.
let's go ahead.
Can't lie. Hawaii is going to be a great.
It should be hard
should
to
be
travel though. Hard to travel.
Oh, I know. I
Tom
know.
Brady's
Hawaii coconuts.
record-setting contract, $325 million a year for 10 years.
375.
325? Thought it was 325? 375, $40 million a year, just casual. Tom Brady's still raking in the cash money, even when all else is lost. By lost, I mean his career as the GOAT, and now he become the GOAT announcer, better than Tony Romo, although that's going to be hard. Tom Brady is going to become the GOAT announcer, better than John Madden himself, and is going to take over the whole game.
All right, here's my thing. Does the contract say when it starts? is
After
they were
he's done
huge.
When
When
he
he
retires.
retires.
So literally, like he could play for another 2 or 3 years potentially, and they're just like, all right, we're gonna hold on to this contract for now.
Yes, because they
Also,
signed the best player of all time.
Let's
Wait,
just talk
wait.
about the fact that he's going to make more money announcing than he did playing football.
Yep.
Yeah. Not to
Austin,
mention
we
his
talk
what
about
business
was that?
that he has and his clothing
He's
line.
making more than Troy Aikman and Tony Romo combined
Mhm.
What?
right now.
Austin,
Like,
what were you drinking there, bud?
Looks like cranberry juice.
Dude, this dude eats whole pizzas and gallons of cranberry juice. Let's go. Gotta clear out those insides, boys.
yeah,
Yeah, Tom Brady is overpaid as he has been his whole career, so that's. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He's underpaid. He's so underpaid as an announcer. Should be paid billions a year. Tell me I'm wrong. Let's go.
he should just own the network.
Yeah, it's true. Honestly, he should already own it. So he's gonna own it by the end of it. So
I mean,
yeah, we go
I
ahead,
like
Steve.
Fox's move to do this, considering they lost Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, the only announcers really honestly worth listening to on Fox.
I mean, Joe
So,
Buck.
well, I actually like Joe Buck. I don't know. I like Joe Buck. And Troy Aikman, he's just a delight to have. But it's a good move by Fox because they're kind of screwed for
Can
the
they-
next season because no one really cares. Granted, I also feel bad for NBC. But, I mean, if I don't have to hear Chris Collinsworth again, I also won't complain.
Jesus. Okay, don't be mean to old man.
And they need to sign Gronkowski with Tom Brady. I
Don't
know.
we
Oh, you
all?
know what would
Yes.
be awesome watching though? Would be watching if Tony Romo wasn't signed to CBS, he was signed to Fox, and just
Oh,
seeing
the two of
Tony
them.
Romo and Tom Brady calling shots every
Oh, that'd
single
be
game.
amazing.
That would,
That would
that
be
would be
like
my
Like
a
dream.
roasting each other's
That would-
plays.
Yeah.
That would be my
just-
dream, Andrew.
That would be so amazing to watch. Just literally them calling the play like this is gonna happen right now, and it just like magically
And
happens,
then
or
like,
them
they have
reading the
Booker come in
defense
every
like
once in a
right
while.
away.
They have Gronk come in instead, and it's the three of them every once in a while.
Oh, I know
That would
that'd
be interesting.
fun.
And I honestly couldn't complain. We're gonna get into the last section of our podcast today. These always take longer than usual, so I was trying to start them a little earlier. And honestly, so we didn't really talk about these a ton. I put these every week in my old man fantasy football chat because they're all a bunch of old guys, and they fight about these every time. Or they talk about these because a lot of these talk about older players. So I'll give you their opinion of these, and we'll go through one by one. Some of these will be quicker. Worst QB ever in a Super Bowl? Yeah, Trent Dilfer was easily the chosen for that chat, and that dude was apparently god awful in that
He was
Super
the
Bowl.
worst.
So that was surprising to me because I didn't know I chose Jeff
I
Hoffman.
mean, I
By the
feel
way,
like
voted.
if we were to switch this to worst performances as well, like Peyton Manning's last Super Bowl would definitely be in that conversation. Who else? One
Big
of
He
Ben
Dick
won.
Nick.
Roethlisberger.
To win.
Yeah. Well, to win a Super Bowl, yeah. Well, I mean, worst QB to win a Super Bowl, but you could also throw in performances, and there would be some surprising
Yeah.
QBs up
Oh,
there as
Nick
well.
Foles had a crazy game against the Patriots. He went off. He dropped like 40
Nick
yards.
Foles probably should be up here because he's a backup QB, but all of these dudes were not great quarterbacks. Let me just put
Yes.
that up. And I mean, like, worst overall quarterback. If you're doing worst performances in Super Bowl history, you can throw Cam right up there. You can throw Peyton Manning recently.
Yeah,
Trent
but-
Dilfer.
Even Brady in some of his Giants Super Bowls too. He did not. do
Nah,
well.
those
Don't bring
games
us back
No,
to that
bro.
2008.
No, you cannot throw those performances in there.
Good time to move to college football.
Exactly. Where we talked about greatest college football team to win a national title. They didn't have a lot to talk about this because honestly, none of us were born for half these teams. But USC was who I looked up and I thought was the best, so that's why I went for it. And most people agreed. So definitely with their best college quarterback ever. I put Vince Young. I
did too.
apparently couldn't have been more wrong because apparently, and I watched Tim Tebow a little bit, but apparently this dude, Tim Tebow, was literally the greatest college quarterback on earth. Like, literally, they were fighting for him so hard. And he had people who had never watched college football ever in their life watching college football because he was
Tim
so
Tebow
good.
was the reason I started watching college football.
Yeah, so that's what I heard from them as well. So I was apparently mistaken.
Two-time national title winner, first sophomore to ever win the Heisman.
Almost
Dominated
won
on the
3
ground
Heismans.
and in the air. Should have won 3 Heismans. Let's make that very clear.
Okay, so yeah, Tim Tebow apparently greatest NFL coach of all time. So I had a lot of people here say Don Shula in that chat. I kind of get it because he has the most wins of all time, but it's Bill Belichick, so we're biased.
But
F in the
here's
chat for that.
one thing I kind of want to add. Do you think with time, because of his quarterback, do you think Andy Reid could potentially get in that conversation?
No.
Yeah, he's not far off. He's like top 10, top 5.
I mean,
I wouldn't say all
arguably
time
best.
though.
Well, I mean, he's arguably one of the best or the best offensive coach, of all time. So now, if you give him and Patrick Mahomes for a couple more years, because Belichick, had Brady, so of course he's going to get, part of why his career is that because of Brady. So he has a good relationship with Patrick Mahomes. He's a very smart coach. Depending on how his division plays out, it really depends now. But I think with time, Andy Reid could definitely be in this conversation.
So 2 things at that point. Andy Reid's already a top 10 coach of all time, but because of his Eagles tenure, I don't think he'll ever reach greatest of all time. He lost 6 conference title games. Like, it's just not wonderful. And second point to that, all great coaches had great quarterbacks. It's what works in the NFL. It's worked throughout history. You have a great coach, you have a great quarterback, you're going to be successful. So anybody who's going like Don Shula didn't have a great quarterback, I'm pretty sure Don Shula coached Dan Marino. Bill Walsh had Joe Montana. Vince Lombardi had Bart Starr. Bill Belichick had Tom Brady. It's the way it works. It's how it goes.
And you moving on to the second set here. Did that one never have? Oh, it's 12 hours left. Oh yeah, because that was today's poll. Silly.
Yes.
We'll look at that one first. I guess best QB in the NFC. I had trouble kind of on this one. I knew it wasn't Tyler Mane. It really is, top 3. But realistically, I think Tom Brady is the best quarterback. He was last year. He may not have won the Super Bowl, but it's because he didn't have the best team, not because he wasn't the best quarterback. So
as much as you want to give Rodgers kind of a lot of praise for he had an MVP season, you have to remember at the same time, if you just look at how the playoffs went off, Matt Stafford took his team to a Super Bowl. Tom Brady did his part to come back against the Rams. Aaron Rodgers, aside from one single drive for a touchdown, did absolutely nothing in his playoff game. So Tom Brady is clearly the best because not only did he have a better regular season for his insane stats, thank you for fantasy, by the way, but also he was able to perform in the playoffs when he did. It was just a missed coverage against Cooper Kupp that cost him that game.
Yeah, and the next 2 were there's some no love here to John Stockton and Cam Newton alike. There was a pretty big discussion that Randall in the chat I was talking about that Randall Cunningham was significantly better than Michael Vick. That was interesting.
Randall Cunningham deserved more love on this poll.
Yes.
But significantly better than Michael Vick in their prime? Answer's no.
Well, it's because he used to throw. He could actually throw as well.
So could Michael Vick. Michael Vick had a cannon.
Yeah, I don't know. That was their argument, though. I can't beat them.
Michael Vick in his prime was a human cheat code.
Yep.
But I gotta say though, I mean, I don't say if like Lamar Jackson can be considered the best because of how early in his career, but if he gets a couple more years, I think he's more than capable of surpassing Michael Vick. I mean, he probably has a better single season than Michael Vick ever had, considering his MVP season was not only 1,200 rushing yards, but he also threw for 36 touchdowns and only 8 interceptions. Are you kidding me?
But he hasn't fought any dogs. That's the real thing here.
Jeez.
He hasn't fought any mollies. Okay.
Yo.
Hey, no.
No.
Nick, stop with that. Steve.
Molly would win every time.
Let's not talk about dogs.
Michael Vick wouldn't have bet on that. So.
Right.
What's up,
Steve?
Yes,
different
Molly,
league. If Michael
right?
Vick was playing in this NFL where he can run the read option like Lamar Jackson can, I'm not so sure he doesn't reach the 1,200-yard mark.
He might reach the 1,800-yard mark. Being honest, he might actually. And as for the other poll, this is probably a little bit of recency bias, Celtics fans. But the Warriors were probably the best team to not win a championship, considering they proceeded to win what 3 out of the next 4.
Yeah, that was the 73-9 year.
Yeah, they should have won that year.
Like they have the best record. They were the best team.
I mean, that just kind of goes to show that, all it takes is one series, but you have, a team that is able to do better in just a handful of games to kind of get the players in their favor. Like, it's possible. Like, I mean, you look at that, the Brooklyn Nets with the team they have this year. Like, they have two insane players that if they were able to communicate and play a little defense, yeah, they could potentially be one of the most dangerous teams. But all it takes is just a lucky break in a series, and I'm not surprised. 7-3-9 is great, but they could just get unlucky. That's how it is.
And that's exactly what happened, sort of. So, does anyone else have anything else they want to talk about today? One of our shorter podcasts, still over an hour, of course. So, anything else for anyone? Any other events that went on recently anyone wants to talk about? Bruins are down 2-0. Update on that. So, it was a kind of a more kind of serious, a lot of fun stuff. We did talk about those cities and whatnot for the podcast today. We're definitely going to continue to do the little Weddle if we have more time, less topics. We'll do more Weddles and different things like we did last week with the Podals and so on. But it's always a pleasure, guys. We always enjoy doing these and we have fun. So thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, leave any comments. Definitely follow on socials and vote in those polls. We do love that there, and definitely make sure to like those posts as well. Thank you guys for watching tonight, and have a great rest of your week. Yankees suck.